Honey, I got what you want. Give me all of your love, 'cause it's burning hot. It's what you do to me, babe, I can guarantee. Honey, I got what you need. Yeah, under the night sky, I want your eyes all on me. Don't tell me lies now, I always get mine. Don't play with me. Do you want it?
Welcome to the only show bringing cops and the community together for some real talk and some real listening. This is uncut. This is uncensored. This is Black and Blue Live. Hey, what's up, Black and Blue fam? Welcome to the Black and Blue podcast. This is the live version, Black and Blue Live. My name is Dale, like it says right down there. Hey, I really appreciate everybody for checking us out here on all the platforms we are on today. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe this. We are live today on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever they call it nowadays, and Instagram. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe this as well, because we got a real good one here for you today. Some of the unsung heroes of law enforcement are the ones that go there and collect all the evidence and in those nasty scenes that we'll talk about today with a few of my guests here that work in the CSI realm of things. It's not like it is on TV where they solve crimes in 30 seconds or less, but they will get down to the dirty of that here in a minute. So, hey, everybody, let's get down to it. Let's do it. All right, so I'm going to introduce them one by one, and my first guest here hails from Franklin County, North Carolina. Everyone, please help me welcome to the show, Rhonda Coyne.
Good evening.
Hey, Rhonda, how you doing?
Doing all right. Hope you guys are.
We are good. We're good. Thank you for joining us on the show here today.
Happy to be here.
Yes, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, and where you do it.
I am a crime scene investigator, the detective corporal over the crime scene investigations unit with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office in Lewisburg, North Carolina.
Okay, thank you. And how long you been doing that?
Let's see here. Law enforcement, 19 years, and crime scene, 16.
Oh, wow. A lot of experience here. Appreciate you.
It's been a minute.
All right. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate you. Mm-hmm. All right. Our next guest here hails from El Paso County in Texas. Great state of Texas. Everyone help me welcome to the show, Ashley Rosilas.
Hey.
How are you? Did I say that last name right?
You did, and I'm surprised. I wasn't expecting that.
Hey, I grew up around Latinos, and the wife is Latina as well. So, hey.
Awesome.
There you go.
So my name is Ashley Rosiles, and I work at the El Paso County Sheriff's Office as a crime scene unit supervisor, and I have been doing so for the past 9 years. All
right. Well, thank you for joining us. You got a wealth of experience, and we're going to call on that tonight. Thank you. All right. Our next guest here, I know intimately, not intimately, but I know well because we work together. I said that wrong, didn't I? Everybody help us. Welcome to the show, Ruth Samano.
Hi.
How you doing, Ruth?
Good. How are you, Dale?
Excellent. Excellent. Tell everybody about what you do and where you do it.
So I'm a forensic specialist with the Redlands Police Department. I've been with the Redlands Police Department since 2018, so that's 6 years. I started off as a community service officer and then was promoted to a forensic specialist in the year 2020.
Excellent, excellent. Appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, comes to us also from North Carolina. Everyone, please help us welcome to the show, Alicia Bolden.
Hello, hey.
Hey, Alicia, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for coming on to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I get there that formally. So tell everybody where you used to work and what you used to do there.
I was a lead crime scene investigator for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. And just like it sounds, I investigated crime scenes.
All right. So we've got 4 CSIs here, forensic specialists here, and we're going to talk all about, what happens at crime scenes, what you guys see, and how you guys collect evidence. And hey, let's get to it. Let's do it. All right. As we see there in the lower banner, the scene of the crime, a close look at CSI. Like I mentioned there in the intro, we all know those shows that come on TV, CSI Las Vegas, CSI Manhattan and CSI, wherever CSI in the ghetto, all these places are out there supposedly to gather evidence from crimes, from crime scenes, whether they be, traffic accidents, and they can be, be something minor like that, thefts from stores, all the way up to, the ultimate, which is a homicide. And we'll talk about all those sorts of things. So, hey, let's get to our first question here. Kind of talk about what you guys do as a crime scene or forensic specialist. Kind of tell everybody, what that entails. Are you supposed to be really collecting evidence? Are you going out there and actually solving crimes? I know a few of you guys out there are doing a little bit different duties. I know Rhonda is sworn, so she's actually out there investigating crimes and taking people into custody. But kind of talk about your duties there. We can start with you, Rhonda, real quick.
Okay. So my foremost duty is responding to crime scenes, anything from your standard break-in all the way up to a homicide, and preserving evidence, collecting evidence, doing additional testing in our laboratory of physical evidence, delivering that evidence to our crime laboratories for even further and more in-depth testing. And thankfully, at this juncture in my career, I'm not necessarily taking anybody into custody, but I am assisting with the fingerprinting of those people in custody, collection of their DNA, things of that nature. I also supervise our crime scene unit, so I'm doing all of the field training, scheduling, etc., budgets, you name it.
Okay. And real quick before we move along, we got somebody wants to say hey there. Hey, Rhonda. The P Warrior says, hey, Rhonda. So, all right.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? Ashley, tell us a little bit about what your job entails.
So as crime scene investigators, a lot of it is photographing, taking video of the scenes, collecting the evidence that is at the locations where we respond to. We respond to motor vehicle accidents. We aid a lot of the units in our agencies. So what we aid, like motor vehicle accidents for the Special Traffic Investigation Unit, we go to homicides for the Major Crimes Unit, and we assist patrol with burglaries. So we do a little bit of everything in our section for the crime scene unit. And then I also train, like Rhonda was mentioning, as a supervisor, we also train the new employees that are coming in. And I mean, that's a little bit of what we do. I supervise the crime scene unit and the lane front examiner, so I have a little bit of both.
Okay. And Ruth, you kind of do the same thing?
Basically, yes. Yeah. There's only two of us for our city, so we are very busy. So right now it's basically the same thing, assisting patrol with burglaries. We do homicides, we do shootings, we do stabbings. Yeah, I mean, we basically try and help everybody out here. And then we also do have our own little lab that we process evidence in, and do a lot of latent fingerprinting. And then the rest we send out to the county for additional processing.
Excellent. And last, Alicia.
Yes. Yeah, so pretty much we do the same thing. The only difference is that we have a lab there in the department that we send everything up to once I collect it and bring it all back.
Okay. All right. Well, what kind of interested you guys to want to get into that profession? Collecting evidence and kind of helping with that sort of thing. Anybody can jump in there.
I'll go first. That's always an interesting question. The things that I like to watch as a small child were questionable, and they just kind of followed me into adulthood. And from there, I wanted to bring that to my everyday life, and I loved it. But especially the element of just investigating. I investigate any and everything. And then you get to do photography on top of that, which I love photography. I love being creative. So it was the best way to kind of merge both of those two things together for me.
Okay, I got it. Anybody else? What interested you in forensics?
So I took a class, a forensics class in while I was a CSO here in Redlands, and I absolutely fell in love. I grew up watching Law and Order with my mom, and I know uh, it just I wanted to be in law enforcement. I wanted to do some type of helping the community, and then I also did photography for a while, like wedding photography. So that kind of got me interested in forensics as well. But I think I truly fell in love when I went to a class for my community service officer role, and I absolutely fell in love, and I knew that's what I wanted to do as a career.
Excellent. William Lee on YouTube says, excellent cast, awesome cast here. I don't know if he knows any of you, but awesome cast here. Thank you, William, for chiming in there. Anybody else? What interested you in jumping into forensics?
For me, I was one of those nosy book nerds growing up. I'm just being honest. Boxcar Children, Encyclopedia Brown, those were my go-tos. And then my mother slipped up and bought me a kid's fingerprint kit, and we sealed the deal. That Murder, She Wrote, and here I am.
Well, it looks like she bought you something that paid off in the end, right?
She knew the deal.
Yeah, she knew it. She knew it. Ashley, what got you interested?
I think a lot of them have covered like little pieces that I'm like, yes, that's everybody who wants to be in forensics. I definitely had some questionable choices when I was a kid, watching these TV shows like Dexter. I loved watching Dexter. And I'm sure like if you're into those that are, you're like, yeah, that's what I liked. But I always wanted to do law enforcement, and definitely science was something that I loved in high school. And those two were mixed together was literally forensics, and it's something that I wanted to pursue early on, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and then we'll talk about how interesting it is here in a minute. But before we do that, hey, Jesus Rodriguez says, "Love the Dragon Ball pops behind you there, Ashley." Yeah, yeah, she's got a whole collection there.
I think I might know him. They might be his. So
She got a whole nice collection back there. So yeah, good stuff. And hey, so you were talking about science and all that sort of stuff. What kind of training does it take to be in forensics and a CSI? Anybody can
To be
jump in
honest
there.
with you, it probably depends on the state. Different states, different municipalities have different standards, different requirements before you get into it. Some don't really have much of one, and they train you once you're in it. The two core classes that I require for my unit are the crime scene technology class via Searchy, that is based out of Youngsville, North Carolina, and crime scene photography. Those are your basic foundational courses that chart your path within crime scene, and then you expand beyond that.
Okay. What about in Texas?
So I think right now a lot of it is growing into forensics, right? Everybody nowadays wants to do forensics, especially I think we grew up watching all of these shows. Right now they're requiring a lot of science-based degrees. At our agency, we need at least a bachelor's degree in a science, hard science, preferable. But criminal justice is also acceptable, but not upsetting. Unfortunately, there's a lot of competition nowadays. So if you start getting more into the sciences, you have a better chance of getting into crime scene.
Okay. Yeah. Is it the same here in California, Brew?
It is, yeah. They will require at least 2 years of some kind of forensic processing or a bachelor's degree in either science or criminal justice, kind of geared toward forensics and science and math.
Excellent. New comment here from Derek Lee. Says, great cast, all well spoken and informative. Thank you there, Derek. We appreciate that. And hey, so yeah, let's get down to the nitty gritty of things real quick. So we did talk about that. Yeah, you do take some photos of maybe crime scenes or burglaries and TCs and stuff like that, traffic accidents and stuff like that. But you also go to these gruesome crime scenes as well, whether they be homicides or just unattended deaths. Let's kind of talk about that. Does any of those crime scenes kind of scare you away from the profession? Let's talk about a challenging crime scene that you've been to. Anybody can jump in and talk about a challenging crime scene that you had to go work.
I'll jump in here.
Yeah, go ahead,
And
Rhonda.
something that's it's not going to be your over the top gruesome scene, but it gives some humanity to the people that work these scenes. Um, One I had was a homicide in a soybean field of all places. Outdoor scenes present their own challenges because you have trouble determining a point of reference for your measurements. You have a body that is now disturbed by nature, the elements, and or wildlife, and trying to piece that all together. And to put the human piece into it, I am and everybody at my agency knows that I'm a walking Jerry's kid. I am, okay? I'm allergic to everything. And soy is one of my worst allergies. So I am processing the scene for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours in hives. So it was not great. Complete body hives. Okay. So no, it's not textbook. Nobody's thinking that with regard to a challenge, but that's the reality of some of the things we face.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. Anybody else? Another challenging scene.
I
I
will
think
say, oh, sorry, go
no,
ahead.
no, go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead.
So like for me, I will say it's like Rhonda was saying, it's not the most gruesome cases that get to me. I think when I start relating, I have an 11-year-old Annabelle. Hi, Annabelle. She, whenever I have cases of girls that are around her age, I think that hits home and I start thinking about it a lot. Or I responded to an elderly couple, the wife passed away and they were alone. And I just think of my parents. Like, I think those are the ones that really hit home versus the ones that are more gruesome. I think you kind of start, unfortunately, you start getting used to it. So it doesn't seem as intense as when it starts getting a little more personal and emotional.
Yeah, I could see that as well. Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, I can't bring up comments from Instagram on here, but we got one that says, what a badass group of ladies here on Instagram. So I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And then another one real quick from Paula Lee says, Rhonda's mom here. Thank you all for what you do.
Oh,
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama Paula. All right. So Ruth or Alicia, another crime scene that was kind of challenging or, just to be there or to investigate.
I think with what Ashley was saying earlier, it's hard when there's just family and children involved. A lot of the crime scenes that we've been doing, especially with you, Dale, involving children, involving families and moms and parents, and just the anguish when we get there, and you can't help but relate to these people, and because we're coming to the worst days of people's lives, right? And it's hard to hear those screams. It's hard to hear that crying, and I think not a lot of people realize that those are worse than our gruesome crime scenes, just because we are all human and we all try to express our feelings, and it's hard when you have to go there with no preconceived notions, with trying to just focus on the crime scene. And as far as Redlands PD, I think our guys do a good job of trying to contain the crime scene and have the parents or victims kind of away, and we'll try to conduct the crime scene as best as we can. But I think dealing with those kinds of emotions is really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Ashley? I'm sorry, Alicia. Yeah, Ashley, you already
Oh,
spoke,
you're
so
fine.
Alicia.
Yeah, same thing that I was going to say. I think that a lot of people will ask me this question, like friends and family, and they assume I'm going to have some crazy, gruesome one to tell them. I have those stories, but those aren't the ones that really stick out to me. Those are the ones I think about, when I go home and go to sleep. The sound of a mother when she realizes who the person is that's laying out on the ground, you can hear that past the next day, next week. Those kinds of things are super difficult. Not knowing necessarily what to say. I will say I had one that was interesting. It was super kind of religious based. So this particular family had a way in their religion that they have to handle the body once the person passes away, right? And one of the things that they need to do in their religion is strip the body down, and there was something else they needed to do. So you could see how that would be difficult. And so we had to sit there and figure out, well, how much do we allow them to do versus, okay, you kind of have to cut it off here, right? And then also all of their family comes. And I want to say in this particular case, there were more than 40 people at this house. They just kept pulling up, kept pulling up, kept pulling up. So for me, how to navigate family is always going to be like the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I can understand that. So, what do we think? Let me bring up this comment real quick before we move along. That Warrior P says again, yes, thank you for your hard work, passion, and compassion. So we appreciate that. How do you guys ensure that because you were just talking about there, Alicia, that, in certain instances, some family members may want to do certain things to a body. How do we ensure that evidence is preserved for cases, for investigations, for trial? Because that's, ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to either make sure that this death was, either a homicide or not. It could have been accidental, or or if it was a homicide, we want to make sure that we catch this person and bring them to justice. How do we ensure that?
I'll tackle that. Preservation begins with your first responding officers. Bottom line. There's only so much we can do. Once we've gotten to the scene, everything is tossed. And it's difficult, especially when you're in the throes of life-saving measures, to necessarily give a crap about a weapon here, a cartridge case there, etc. That's not your main concern. But once we've determined we're beyond that, I need everybody out of that scene. I need this roped off, and I need a crime scene log off gate. This has to be documented in a very specific fashion, and no, people cannot remain in the residence. I get it that you're friends. I get it that you're family. They can't stay in there. Likewise, I've had scenarios where we've had to have animal control come in and remove pets because they can't stay in either. So that's the start.
Yeah. Exactly. We got to make sure that, this evidence is preserved, but like you said, in life-saving measures, when you got firefighters trudging through the scene and, they're not worried about preserving evidence. Is there a way that we kind of make sure that evidence is kind of preserved, or, that they do their thing in a certain way or in a certain area? Is there a way that we can do that?
I would say really being in close contact with your firefighters and your officers in your department. They need the education. They don't necessarily know their emergency response. So they're quick. You know what I mean? My urgency is there, but it's slightly different, right? Because by the time I show up, danger is gone. If you needed your life saved, you're already been taken to the hospital. But what I was big on was education. So the next time you show up to a scene, hey, don't touch this, don't go in there, don't do this, and be open with the education so that they can actually start asking you questions so they can feel more comfortable. So sometimes I think it's really important before we get to the scene, how we communicate, how our relationship is with our local PD, things like that.
Got it. I got it. Yep. Any other ways that we can preserve evidence and make sure that it makes it to trial? That's basically it there, right? Okay.
If I can piggyback on what she said for just a quick second, sometimes it does take some periodic refreshers, because I'm sure the ladies with their agencies, they've seen enough turnover, they've seen enough people get complacent where it's time to say, okay, I need you guys to tighten up on X, Y, Z. And so we've begun to incorporate that with my agency, where over a series of months, if we see it kind of going downhill, we gather everybody back, we do a quick refresher, and we regroup.
Indeed, indeed. How do you guys stay up to date on the latest trends and things to preserve this evidence? You know, the newest technology. You know, technology changes every other Tuesday, right? How do you guys stay up to date on these new techniques?
I think one thing that I love about forensics is that it's never going to stay the same. There's always going to be new equipment, new technology coming up. And I definitely love that part of forensics and keeps me on my toes. I like to read a lot of research articles. I continue my education. I'm currently going for my master's. I am not complacent, and there's courses that I can take constantly to keep myself what's going on, in the know of what's really going on. Where I'm also part of the Texas division, IAI, which is the Association for Forensics. So as long as you keep yourself abreast of all of those things that are going on, you will continue to keep yourself a little bit more in what the current technology is.
Yeah. Yep. And here in California, Rue?
The same thing, yeah. So we have a coordinator here that is always updating us on different classes. I am also part of the IAI California division. And that's basically an organization that has gives us basically like little newsletters every month, and kind of makes us stay up to date with everything new in forensics. And like Ashley said, it is ever changing. It's never the same. So we have to really keep up with different methods, different court case trials that are out there that are trying different things forensic wise. So we have to be very diligent in just keeping ourselves updated with new things.
Absolutely. A real quick question here. I did talk about here at the beginning of the show about CSI, how they, kind of embellish a little bit about, our careers in law enforcement and your careers in CSI work. I got a question here from Tans on YouTube who asks, when you watch Law and Order or shows like that, SVU or any other crime show, does it drive you crazy how they mishandle the information?
To the degree that I refuse to watch, yes.
Oh,
Right. Yeah.
100% agreed. So my interest in those shows actually diminished the more I got into real crime scene. I can't watch them the same.
And I think it affects also when we go to court. People expect to see what they saw in TV, and it's a little bit hard for us to be like, well, you're not always going to get fingerprints. And it's hard for them to understand, like, well, on TV they did. Why isn't it happening here? So I think it affects us a little bit as well.
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
It also affects, I believe, how even some patrol divisions see what we do on scene. I have been on many a scene where many a patrol officer is wondering why it's taking so long. Well, because it's not television. That's why.
No, it's not.
I have so many measurements. I have so many pictures. I have so many items to collect. I have so many things to document that I've collected for the pursuant to a search warrant. It's not TV.
I 100% agree, Rhonda. I was just about to say that only because when we go to scenes, even officers are asking, how long is this going to take? How long are you going to be here? And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to stand by until I'm done. Like, I can't give you a time. I can't give you, it's when I'm done. So I think a lot of these programs do kind of misinterpret and construe what we do. And not a lot of people realize how in depth we are in these crime scenes.
Yeah. But on the flip side, let me tell you that, everyone watches these shows, including the crooks too, right? And they think that we have all these technologies. Let me tell you a story about years ago when I was on patrol. Late at night, I was working nights, drove by a car there was an area where a bunch of cars were lined on the street for sale. I drove by, some guy looks like he was, hanging out around these cars. So I flipped a U-turn and he took off right through this field. I stopped, looked at the car. The passenger side was smashed out and there was a rock inside. So I called in the troops. We found him in some housing tract, and then it took a while for us to get everything together. And I noticed that this guy had some gloves when I searched him, knit gloves, right? So I told this guy when I got him back to the station that the reason it took so long is because we got CSI out there on the scene and they analyzed that rock. And guess what they saw, what they found on that rock? Threads from your glove on that rock. What do you got to say about
Nice.
that? And he said, oh yeah, man, I did it. Boom.
Oh,
Boom.
oh no.
Worked
Yep.
good enough.
Yep. We can use it to our advantage too. So just saying that. Another comment here. We got Paula Lee. Miss Paula Lee says those shows also drive me crazy because of my affiliation with your profession. Yeah. So we're all in agreement there. Thank you for that, Miss Paula Lee. All right. So you guys were talking about how you collaborate with patrol and other units of your respective departments and how they expect certain things from you guys. Let's talk about collaborating with other agencies, other departments. We got crime labs that we have to deal with. Let's talk about some of those affiliations that you guys have to deal with. I know somebody brought up earlier where you have to submit your evidence and things of that nature. Kind of talk about those processes.
I know for our agency, we submit all of our evidence to the North Carolina State Crime Laboratory. So we interface with those entities in the different disciplines. So depending on what we submit, we might be interfacing with latent evidence, serology, ballistics, etc. At times, well, not at times, we are also responsible for responding to every municipality within our county. So if any city in our county requests us, we're going. And so we are dealing with those agencies and their patrol officers as well. Sometimes we end up cross-referencing with other cities, counties, municipalities, things of that nature. Let's say there is a shooting in a neighboring county. We end up with a traffic stop in our county that's unrelated, seemingly, and one of our deputies seizes a firearm from that vehicle that matches in caliber and vehicle matches the description of something seen at that shooting. Then we will cross-reference any ballistic evidence we collect with ballistic evidence they collect to try to bring a case to fruition. We will also interact heavily with our district attorney's office in preparation for cases with regard to the evidence we collected, the results of the testing of that evidence, and things of that nature.
Right. Anybody else? What are kind of these processes that you guys have to deal with outside agencies?
I'd say a big one for us was because of our location, all the other towns and the police departments around us they were smaller. So there were times where something would happen that maybe their staff just couldn't handle. They didn't see it often, where there's 30 plus of us in my unit. They may have 2 in their unit. So a lot of times and they call so that we can help us out. That was a pretty big one, trying to figure out how to go about that, because then we also still have our city that we have to maintain at the same time. And Charlotte literally never stops. And then just like Rhonda mentioned, like if I have a crime that happens here, but the suspects end up here, or that car ends up here, how we collaborate with, hey, we got your vehicle over here. What do I do versus what do we let them do?
True that. And, Rhonda, you brought up, bringing this stuff for prosecution later. What is, because, we want to kind of promote you guys' profession. So anybody else thinking about joining this profession, what's your exposure to going to court? Do you guys ever have to testify in court for whatever you did at a scene. Let's talk about that. What is that experience like going to court?
So yes, we do end up testifying in court. I will say, at least from my experience, it's not with the abundance that television represents. A lot of the time, if you have done what you are supposed to do on scene and it's not been skewed or tarnished by patrol and or detectives, the typical defense attorney doesn't really want to take things to trial. That's been my experience. Every now and then, you have something that's just got to go to trial. So I have testified, meet with the district attorney. You actually sit and talk with the defense attorneys as well for them to bring up some of the things that might come up in trial. So this is where documentation is key, and I cannot stress this enough for the new officer that's just ready to kick in doors and slam people. If you don't write it down, it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. And I tell everybody I train, in 2 years, I'm not going to remember what the heck I collected from this scene. I'm just not. And that's when this goes to trial.
Yep, true that. Anybody else?
To kind of piggyback off of Rhonda, I 100% agree. If you did everything correctly and if your detectives didn't put their hands into the pot as much as they should, we shouldn't have to get called. I think I've only been called once to jury trial, and it was for a case like 3 years ago. So I 100% believe in documenting every little thing you do, because I can't even remember what I did last week. Like it is too busy for us to remember any of these scenes. Documentation is super, super important. And yeah, you do talk to the DA, the defense attorneys, and it is nerve-wracking to be up there. But, and again, the jury trial expects results in 2 seconds the same day. So kind of explaining it to them is a little difficult just because you do it every day, right? And you don't really have to explain a lot of what you do to people. So facing, court and all that, it is a part of our lives. It's not a huge part of our job, but we definitely do interact with them throughout our profession.
Yeah. And speaking about, what is part of your job, what is the most rewarding part of your job? We'll start with you, Alicia. Go ahead, Ashley. Yeah, I was going to go right to left. Go ahead, jump in there, Ashley. Most rewarding part of your job.
I enjoy teaching younger generations and seeing high schoolers or elementary, middle schoolers interested in our field, and seeing like females in forensics and seeing that they can be in law enforcement and them asking us questions on how can I get there. I think it's inspiring, and I love that. And I love to motivate the younger generation. I want to see more of them coming into a field or getting to see them actually be like part of our internship and then actually get hired afterwards. For me, that's really rewarding.
That's great. Anybody else?
100% agree with that. So I always coin it as like bridging gaps, and different ways that you can bridge gaps, whether or not I'm in here. And I had friends who were looking at me crazy when I first entered because of their relationship with police and what their relationship is now, because they see that I'm there. And then also the countless times I've had young people, especially Black women, approach me in shock that I get to do this. And I have to turn around and say, hey, you get to do it too. You know what I mean? This is all you got to do. So, so that kind of thing. That's probably the best part of experience so far.
Love it. Yep, for sure.
I love that feedback for the incoming and the younger generation. I will approach it from our victims' standpoint, though, and for me, I'm a big proponent of justice. Mm-hmm. And making sure my victim is vindicated is big for me. And even if it's not necessarily a crime, making sure the families have an answer. And then I will also speak as a minority. I have been in the racially charged criminal acts, and I have been the agent that walks up and I see relief wash over the family that thinks they wouldn't have gotten answers otherwise. I've been there. So that speaks volumes.
Yep. Anybody else?
I 100% agree with, so the most rewarding thing for me is helping the victims. And it can range from elderly people to young kids. It's just a big part of me wants to help, wants to give that justice to the victims that we are helping through these crime scenes. It's just a big puzzle piece that we have to put everything together and kind of figure out for them. And, you know, sometimes I get to hear, you know, the victims say thank you. And I think it's a huge part of what I do. And it is the most rewarding thing that I can do for them, just figure out what happened to their loved ones or what's going to happen, and just give them that kind of comfort, saying, you know, we'll try our best. And it's not just, you know, one person is more important than the next. Every case to me is very, very important. And there are a lot of cases, but giving the victim some kind of closure in all these cases is huge to me. So just helping the community and trying to get those answers for them is huge.
Yep. For sure. Couple comments before we move on. One that I missed earlier from Jesus says, I can't watch movies that involve crime scene units because my wife starts pointing out everything that they do wrong. Yeah, same with us cop shows. I'm sure doctors do that with medical shows as well too, right? Yep, same thing. And Ty would like to ask, I like to know if this profession has changed the way that you live your life outside of work.
Tremendously. There are things that I notice that I can't unnotice, that I can't shut down in my mind. Once you've been in law enforcement, you wear the badge. It's hard to turn it off, unfortunately. So
yeah. What about?
I think
what about things like you see at crime scenes that kind of change the way your perspective on things now?
I have an 11-year-old, and she always wants to stay over with her friends at other houses, and I'm like, I'm not okay with that. I'm probably like the worst mom ever to her, but I have seen so many things that I am not comfortable with her staying over at somebody else's house where you might know somebody, but I've seen so many cases that they were trusted and they shouldn't be trusted.
That part. Yep. And Scott Abner says, happy Monday. Hope all is well with you all. Thank you, Scott. We appreciate that. And hey, ladies, I really appreciate you coming in and giving your perspective on your profession, a much needed profession. Things aren't solved in 30 seconds or less, 30 minutes or less for that matter, or not even 30 days or less a lot of times. So keep that in mind, public. But hey, we are not done yet. We've got something here I'd like to play with you guys to keep you guys engaged. And this is called Family Game Night. Family Game Night. And that today, ladies, is your category is much seen crime scenes. That means infamous crime scene cases. Rules here, you will try to guess the name of a high profile case, either by the victim's or the suspect's name. All right, I'm sure there's a few here that we can name. And another rule here, don't just yell out your name, your answer rather. Your name is your buzzer. So if you think you know the answer, say your name and I will call on you to answer. If you get it right, you'll get a point. However, if you get it wrong, you'll be locked out from trying to answer the rest of that question. And lastly, the player with the most points at the end will be crowned the crime scene queen. Yeah, I'm sure you'll love that title, right? So
bring it.
Bring it. All right, here we go. Let's see. Case number 1. Here we go. Check it out. On the evening of December 8th, 1980, this English musician was shot and fatally wounded in his archway of Dakota, his residence in New York City.
Rhonda. John
Go ahead,
Lennon.
Rhonda. It is John Lennon.
John Lennon.
Yes. It is John Lennon. Yes.
Yay.
And you get the point for that. All right. Just like that. Easy peasy. Just like that. All right. Here's your next case here. On October 30th, 2002, Jason Mizzle, DJ of a pioneering hip hop group with hits like It's Like That, Tricky, and Walk This Way, was fatally shot in his recording studio in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Nobody know? Going once, going twice. Nobody? That's Jam Master Jay of Run DMC. Nobody heard of that case? I guess, I'm a hip hop guy. I'm a DJ guy. So yeah. All right. Nobody got the point. Nobody got the point. All right. Here's your next one. Maybe we'll get this one. All right. On May 8th, 2013, a salesman was stabbed multiple times by his girlfriend while he was in the shower of his house in Mesa, Arizona. Say your name. Is that you, Ashley? I think you're on mute. That wasn't you?
It's just me being mad at myself for knowing but not knowing nothing.
And I was laughing at her because I could see her reaction.
Okay.
And I know the
Alicia,
case too. I
going
see
once.
his face.
Going once, going twice. That was Jodi Arias,
There it is. Yes.
who murdered her
Yeah.
ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander.
And recorded it.
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately. All right. Come on, let's get on the board here. Come on. We can't let Rhonda win with just 1 point. All right, come on. Here's your next one. Case number 4. On July 15th, 1997, an Italian designer was murdered on the front steps of his mansion in Miami, Florida. They just made a big show about
I
it a
just
couple years
watched
ago.
the documentary on it.
Just watched it. Come on, everybody. Here we go. It's a bag and shoes and all that. Everyone.
Yes, he's a designer. Yes,
He's a designer.
oh.
He was a designer at least. Going once, going twice. Nobody. Gianni Versace.
Versace.
Versace. Do you
Okay.
remember that song by Panda? Versace. No, come on. He was murdered by Andrew Cunanan in Miami. Yeah. It's actually, his mansion is pretty cool right there on Miami Beach. It's been turned into a restaurant. I've been there. It's pretty cool. But yeah, very eerie. All right, come on. Rhonda's still up with 1 point. Come on, CSIs. Let's get this. It's your next one. On March 9th, 1997, this iconic New York City rapper was murdered in a drive-by shooting after he left a party
Alicia.
in the Hollywood Hills section of Los Angeles. Alicia.
Biggie.
That is correct. Yes. The Notorious B.I.G. Yes. All right. Got you on the board. Okay. Here we go. Now we got a game. All right. Next one here. Case number 6. On the morning of March 31st, 1995, this singer who crossed over from
Ashley.
Tejano to pop music was fatally shot in the Days Inn of Corpus Christi, Texas, by a president of her fan club. Ashley, I heard you first.
Selena.
Yes, it is Selena. Yes. Selena Quintanilla. Yes. And you get a point. All right. That's a damn shame, too, on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Case number 7. Here we go. On November 22nd, 1963, this national leader was shot and killed as he
Rhonda.
rode in a motorcade through Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas. Rhonda.
JFK.
Yes, it is JFK. Yep. You get the point there. So you were up 2-1. And Ruth, come on, you got the big fat donut. Come on, we got you here. Come on, we got one for you. So come on, get on the board at least. Here we go. Case number 8. On the morning of December 26, 1996, the mother of a 6-year-old girl found a ransom letter demanding $118,000 for her safe return. The girl was later found that day in the basement of the family's Boulder, Colorado home. The case remained unsolved for 20 years. That was Rhonda. Who is it?
JonBenet Ramsey.
It is JonBenet Ramsey. Yes. Yep. We all thought that was kind of suspicious there. That was sus, right? The whole case there.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Next one here. On April 4th, 1968, this person was killed as he stood on the second floor balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, where he had come to lead a march by striking sanitation workers. That was Rhonda. Heard her first. Who was that?
MLK.
MLK. Yep. Rhonda, another point there. Come on, Ruth. At least get on the board. Don't get shut out, Ruth. Don't get
I'm
shut out. Here we
trying,
go.
man.
Because
Shout out
Rhonda
that
doesn't
name.
let us.
I
She's like,
know.
I got this.
As soon as you think you know it, just shout out your name. That's what Rhonda's been doing. All right, here's your next one. On April 20th, 1999, 2 students went to their high school and shot and killed 12 other students and 1 teacher before turning the guns on themselves. That was Rhonda again.
Columbine.
It is Columbine. Yes.
Klebold and whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yep. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. Yep.
Yeah.
Get you another point and a couple more here for you. All right. On the night of September 7th, 1996, this iconic rapper was fatally shot. Alicia's yes. She didn't even let me finish that one. She knew.
My favorite rapper in the world.
Tupac. Yep. You get a point here. All right. Next one here. On December 24th, 2002, a woman who was 8 months pregnant with their first child was reported missing from her Modesto, California home by her husband. Both her and her unborn child's remains were later found on the shores of the San Francisco Bay. That is Rhonda.
This was the series of years that were the Petersons.
Oh
but this was
Gosh, them people there.
Did you say Peterson? Yes. Lacey Peterson.
Yeah.
Killed by her husband, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately. And about the last one here. Come on, Ruth. Get on the board. Get on the board, Ruth. Here we go. Come on. On the night of June 12, 1994, a woman and her male friend were stabbed to death outside her condo in Los Angeles. Her famous ex-boyfriend was later charged in their murder, and subsequent trial was dubbed the trial of the century as more than 95 million people tuned in to watch the live proceedings. Rhonda.
O.J. Simpson, Nicole Brown Simpson.
That is correct. O.J. Simpson. All right. Yep, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were killed in that. O.J. was found not guilty in the trial, but he was found responsible. He was found responsible in the civil trial.
Right.
Believe that or not. So Rhonda got the point there. All right. So it looks like Rhonda is the winner, but we got a tiebreaker. This tiebreaker.
But who's tied?
This tiebreaker is worth 10 points.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
This tiebreaker is worth 10 points. All right. So here we go. I'll read this out to you. In 2023, St. Louis received the dubious honor of the highest homicide rate per 1,000 residents. What is that rate? I.e., an example would be 1.5 homicides per 100,000 residents. We'll start with you, Rhonda. What is that rate?
Let's go 17.
Jeez. Oof.
17 homicides per 1,000 residents. How about you,
For
Ashley?
100,000. Yeah.
Yes, per 100,000. One closest is the winner. Go ahead, Ashley.
I'm gonna say 8.
8. Okay. Ruth.
I'm gonna say 11.
11. And Alicia.
23.
Ooh.
23. Okay. And the answer is 69.4.
Oh my God.
That means with 23, Ashley is
What are they doing?
the winner. Yes.
So what I won't be doing, because I shouldn't have been nowhere near close to that,
No.
is visit.
Right.
I will not be visiting.
Yeah. 69 per 100,000 residents. Yes.
So apparently that's the city pastime.
Yep.
Jesus. Oof.
And I had a slide. I had
Okay.
the rest of the slides there, but LA was not in the top 20. Neither was New York per 100,000. LA had like 300 homicides period in 2023. So
Oh.
per 100,000, that's
Really?
that's only like like 30 per 100,000, something like that. Yeah,
All right.
Wow.
yeah. So
69 though. All right. Cool.
yeah, because St. Louis only had like 300,000 residents, 300 something thousand. Yeah, that's
Oh,
crazy.
that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, so St. Louis, St. Louis is a
Oh,
mess,
no.
ain't it? It's a mess right now. It's a mess right now. But they play some good
Wow.
baseball over there though. But hey, ladies, I appreciate
Wow.
you guys coming on. Before I get you out of here, how about some words of wisdom for the audience out here? We'll start with you, Rhonda.
Let's see here. Words of wisdom. If this is something you want to do, take your studies seriously. Learn to document detail now. Learn to notice detail. Notice the little things because they do matter. They do make a difference in a crime scene. And be dedicated to it. If this is not your passion, please don't even attempt it. Bottom line.
Good words to live by. Ashley.
I will follow up with that. I mean, you have to love crime scenes because it's a very rewarding job, but it's not easy. It's not easy to do. So make sure that you do love what you're doing and know what you're getting yourself into before getting completely in there because you don't want to waste somebody else's time and your time to get all the way to getting hired and at the end realizing that this is not what you want. But also don't give up. If this is really what you want to do, if this is really what you love, life gets in the way, keep going. There will always be positions available. And if you keep trying, there will always be something for you if this is what you love. So don't give up.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Love it. Ruth.
If you do want to pursue a career in CSI, I highly suggest going out for a ride along or some kind of internship just to kind of get your feet wet because it is a mentally taxing job. And I feel like there are certain people who can handle the job and certain people who can't. And if that's not you, that's okay. If it's something that you want to do, just don't give up on your studies. Make sure you're always studying. Make sure you're looking at, different departments require different things. So just be sure to keep up on that. And if you do have if you're in the county or city and there is forensics in your city, reach out to them. I have people reaching out to me all the time and asking questions. And some people are saying, "Oh, that's not for me," and that's okay. And some people love to want to know more. And I highly suggest just reaching out to people and kind of getting their feedback on their forensics because it's definitely different each city, each county.
Love it.
I was just going to piggyback off that. It is different in different places. Even when I came into CMPD, I had one way I thought it was going to be. And then when you do things with other women or other people in general in CSI, you realize that every county is different. I did get to know the people in crime scene before I moved to crime scene. I actually started off as a dispatcher. That was a huge one. I did ride-alongs with them, you name it. And then my biggest thing is your mental health. Focus on your mental health 1000% of the time. And make sure that, you use all your resources, whatever that is you need to do. And don't be afraid to say if something is bothering you. Don't let other people make you think that you can't say this scene bothered me or whatever the case may be, because that's only going to come back on you at the end of the day. So yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right. And before I get you out of here, a few comments here. Before we go, we have William Lee said, to your win there, Alicia, go Alicia. It came from behind to win, and then Rhonda came from ahead to lose. I don't know how that happened, but
Rhonda still got all the juice though, because she was.
Yo, we all won. Bottom line.
Yep. And exactly, it was fun. Go Ashley there from Jesus said, go Ashley. Ty said, great job, ladies. Appreciate that. William again says, truly great job from each woman here on the show today. And good William said, great answer, Ashley, when you were closing out there. And same for you, Rue. Great answer there. And Scott was singing his praises for everybody. Martha Gray is proud of all of you. And William Lee also said to your closing statement there, Ashley, Alicia rather, that another great answer from Alicia. So keep that in mind. All right, ladies. Hey, I appreciate you coming on to the show today. Stay right there, and I will join you here in a bit. Thanks. Hey guys, what do you guys think about that? That was a real good conversation that we had with those CSIs. Hope you guys learned a lot. I know I did there. Get a few more comments here before we get to go here. We got thank you for so much for hosting this. Hey, I appreciate you for tuning in. And Martha Gray says, my niece Rhonda is the bomb. I'm sure we all love that. And Scott says, another great episode. Hey, I really appreciate you, everybody, for tuning in for this episode. You learned a lot about CSI, about forensics. If you want to be in that profession, hey, these ladies here had some great advice for you, some great insight. So take care of that, and do what you got to do to get in this profession. You know, it's like Ashley said earlier that there's a lot of competition in this job nowadays, but you can do it. Just study up on your sciences and you will be there. So, hey, I appreciate you guys. My name is Dale, Black and Blue Live, and we'll see you next time. Appreciate you.
Is this over? Is this over? Can this be over now? Is this over? Is this over? Is this over? Can this be over now? Baby, I surrender. I can take it any